Hello? I'm
Yeah.
24.
Do you support Trump?
Hey, I do.
And if the election were held today, Harris versus Trump, who would you rather vote for?
I would vote for Trump still. I just feel like
Okay.
I'm not
Why do you support Trump?
Republican or Democrat, but I feel like the Democrat Party just went really bad when they changed over to Kamala. I don't even feel like she was a good candidate.
Kamala? Okay. And what makes you think that she wasn't a good candidate?
I'm not here to debate about that, but I just wanted to debate about what do you think Trump relationship with Venezuela and Iran?
I think that Trump has put us off in worse off conditions in terms of foreign policy. The war with Iran has been detrimental to our economy, our economic growth, our relations with our
So
allies all around the
now let me
world.
ask you something. Do you believe that Iran should have nuclear weapons?
No. I think the
So you
JCPOA
so you
prevented them
so
from
you
getting
agree with
nukes to a
Trump
greater
when he
extent.
goes and he invades Iran for them not to have a nuclear weapon then?
Repeat what you just said?
So do you support Trump invading Iran for them not to have a nuclear weapon?
No.
So why would you prefer what would be your idea for them not to have a nuclear weapon? Like what can they do about that?
The JCPOA, like what Obama established prior. And even Midnight Hammer, the strike about a year ago on their nuclear enrichment facilities, that didn't cause a war. So, and according to U.S. intelligence, they haven't been building up their nuclear program since the original strike about a year ago under Operation Midnight Hammer.
Hmm. I just feel like a lot of times when I hear Democrats talk, they always have a policy that doesn't support America being more powerful. Like you know what I mean? When like the United States went into Venezuela, they took Maduro out of power and they in some kind of way took control of the biggest oil reserve in the world. It's like the whole America was mad about that, but that just makes America more powerful. Why are you guys against that?
I don't think distancing ourselves from our allies. I don't think
But
that
so
making our
how
economic
does
growth
that
worse off.
make
I
you
don't think that.
distance
Can I make
yourself?
my point fully, sir?
Go ahead, go ahead.
I
Let me
don't
hear
think
you.
distancing ourselves from our allies. I don't think making our economic growth worse off. I don't think that, domestically ignoring our population to be so hyper obsessed about what's going on all around the world is beneficial for the average person in this country. I think we've spent trillions of
But you
dollars
still didn't
of debt
answer
related
that. Like,
spending.
so
Let
if
me please
America is
finish.
becoming a more powerful country, why are
Can I
you
please
against
finish?
that? Go ahead.
We've spent trillions of dollars, right, of debt related spending involving ourselves all around the world, not for better
But
conditions for people.
again, like you are pivoting the point into another conversation. I'm talking about Venezuela in specific. You can talk about Ukraine. You can talk about other topics. But again, so for this specific one, are you against the United States having control over Venezuelan oil?
Yes, I think that's a bad thing. I think that's
Why?
called stealing.
This is what I don't understand. Like I feel like a lot of people that are Democrats, they support China and they support Russia in some kind of way. Like if you went over there, you will have the same freedom. You know what I mean? Like if you were to go to Iran, they will not defend you. All the people that live in Iran, if you were to go over there and you say that you're American, they will kill you. So it's like I feel like it's a little bit hypocrite that you guys are out here defending them, where if you go over there, you know what I mean, they wouldn't defend you at all. So that's what I don't understand.
So I don't think you should refer to all Iranians in that way. I think that's a dishonest way to refer to all Iranians. I think you can portray
Well,
the IRGC in that way, but to try to refer to all Iranians that way, I think is very dishonest and fucked up. Secondly, we don't
but
support the IRGC, we don't support China, and we don't support Russia. I don't know what this argument is. When did I ever claim that I supported any of those
because so
countries'
you
governments?
say you know for me the United States is the biggest country in the world, is the most powerful country, and is the country that have recreated other countries. Like for example, when Japan broke down, who recreated it? You know what I mean? The United States. When after this
The
World War
United States
II,
is the one who bombed
who
them.
helped Europe
But yeah,
rebuild their countries? We
wait, but
rebuilt
like okay,
Germany,
but
we
that doesn't mean that
rebuilt
we've done that with every other country.
France,
So
you know what I mean? And look at those countries. Now look at the countries that Russia and Cuba have supported. You look at Cuba, where's Cuba at? You know what I mean? They do not have any of that. They don't have money, they don't have oil, they don't have nothing. So it's just kind of like for me, if I see the United States going into another country to try to help them, for me that's just better. You know what I mean? I don't understand why, like again, like the United States is trying to keep their power in the Middle East and you guys are against that.
So I don't think that we've created better conditions within the Middle East, militarily intervening. I don't think that we've created better conditions in Venezuela, militarily intervening.
I mean,
Neither. Can I
they
please
have
finish
created
any
a
of my
better condition
points
in
without you
Venezuela,
cutting me off?
but they have created a better condition in Venezuela.
How?
How? Well, first they took the guy that was torturing a bunch of people. And I'm from there, so I'm also like a nationalized American citizen. So I can attest for all the reasons that all the things that Nicolas Maduro and Chavez and all their people have done to
Yeah,
my
but
people out
we
there.
have the same regime in office though. There's been no change in regime.
But hold on, but you can have them change the whole theme from one day to another, because it wouldn't work like that. Because I can tell you that over there, all the people on like every local government, they will not change just magically because they took this one guy out of office. You know what I mean? So
Exactly. So
they
like the
have
point that
created
I'm
better
making is
conditions
that
because so first they came out with an amnesty law where a lot of the political prisoners that they had, they let them out. You know what I mean? There have been a bunch of people that they let out and they've been in prison for no reason for years. And that happened after Trump took Nicolas Maduro out of Venezuela.
okay.
So it has improved.
Okay, so you're saying the improvement is that they let go of political prisoners.
Well, but so I mean, improvement. You can say improvement. You can see that in different kind of ways. I mean, you're not gonna see 100% improvement just from one action. You know what I mean? There's different things that will happen after that one action.
Okay. Um Here, one second. Let me. Okay. So I mean that's existed to some extent. Um
So the
yeah,
Venezuela situation
but like
has
not
improved.
most of
You know
them
what I
still
mean?
haven't. Most of them still
No,
haven't.
and I still have a lot of friends out there that I
Um
talked to, and they have said that everything has improved after that
Wait.
happened. They
So
changed their regime in a way of like
what else?
now they took all the
What
pictures
else? Because
out of Hugo
I would argue
Chavez,
that this
Maduro.
is.
They're trying to change the president of
Let me
the.
know when I can speak in response because I just want to have a conversation with you, and I
Go
think that
ahead,
we're
go
not
ahead, go
having a
ahead.
conversation
Let
about
me
what
hear
I'm
you. Go
speaking
ahead,
about.
go ahead. I'll let you talk. Go ahead.
Yeah, please, because like I just don't think that we're having a productive dialogue right now. So most of them still haven't been released. Now I think that's a good thing. I think that's a material benefit. I think
Yes.
that's the only thing that you could probably mention. Is there any other thing you could mention? I mean,
Well, so first they took control of the Venezuelan oil. Now they're not gonna sell it to China. Now all the oil is gonna be sold through the United States. So then the United States are gonna have control of that money. So then they will be able to use it as a corrupt. You know what I mean? Because before they will sell it to China or Russia, and they will give the oil for free to Cuba. So how does that benefit the Venezuelan people either? I mean, I feel like if they take control of that oil and they use it for any reason, and the United States gets a profit from that, for me, that's good.
I think that's called stealing. I don't think that's good. I think that's actually like an example of how we're materially
So you
negatively.
would rather Russia and
Let me
China
know when I
have the
can.
oil?
Can we have a conversation without you cutting me off? I'm sorry. I'm just gonna be like this now. Like, do you want me to do that? I'm not gonna sit here and let you just do this a whole conversation. What the fuck is
But
wrong with you? Genuinely.
okay, go ahead. Answer.
Why are you laughing at me after I just told you to stop doing that?
Because like you're out here just saying that I'm cutting you off, but you're saying like,
You were cutting
oh
me
yeah,
off and
that's
not talking to me.
stealing.
Yeah.
But like, it's not a stealing when Russia and China are taking our oil.
Wait. So I would say them deciding to trade with Russia and China is not stealing because they decided to
But
do
so
that. But
okay,
it
I'm
is
sorry, I
stealing when the
interrupted.
U.S. goes in and by force forces them to give up oil and then takes it for our benefit. That is stealing.
But so you do know that the regime or the government that is set up in Venezuela is out of a lot of people that are narco traffickers, right? You do know that, and you do know that all the
Okay.
government in Venezuela has been fake. A lot of people have voted for a different president, like in the moment it was Henry Capriles and Maria Corina Machado, where they didn't let her run for president. So it's just kind of like all those things are corrupt. So when you say it's stealing, for me it's not stealing. Stealing is when they send it to Russia. That's stealing because they stole the power from all that. So I feel like when you have a policy as the United States to not have any allies from Russia or China in your continent, I feel like that's pro-America.
Okay. So I have a few things to address here. You think that Trump's administration is worse for narco traffickers? Just letting you know, you can't say any specific DRUG name. Just want to let you know it's TikTok TOS. But like going to this conversation, how do you feel about Donald Trump pardoning the ex-president of Honduras, who was convicted of trafficking over 400 tons of sea drug to our country?
I didn't know that he did that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure that there's a lot of things that Trump has done that I feel like contribute on a bigger picture. You know what I mean? In a way of like, when he blockades the Strait of Hormuz, right? And he doesn't want to let other ships go by because he doesn't want to let Iran extort other countries for them to pay in the yen. I feel like that's good because it still keeps the dollar as the biggest monetary bill that you can use. You know what I mean?
Well, less
Do
people are using the dollar because of the fact that Donald Trump is destroying relationships with allies all around the world
but
and
again,
imposing
but so
tariffs
do
all
you?
around the world
But
as well. Plus, you're not answering the specific question I brought up. How do you feel about Donald Trump pardoning a convicted trafficker for over 400 tons of sea drug to our country? If he's so hard on narco traffickers, then explain to me why he pardoned one who was convicted.
I never said that Trump was against narco traffickers. I never said that. I said that Maduro was a narco trafficker, but I didn't say that he was against that. I feel like Trump does things not because they're against drugs or against anything like that. I just feel like he does things that benefit America. In some kind of way, when you were talking before about the tariffs, I feel like a lot of things that he did with the tariff were just to press other countries to do the things that he wanted them to do. You know what I mean? Like, yes, that did make our prices go up, you know, and I feel like in some kind of way it was stupid that now the all those tariffs that he charged to companies are being refunded to the companies when we are the one that pays for those tariffs. I don't agree with that, but I do agree with him putting tariffs on other countries and then other countries doing things that Trump wants to do.
Okay, so can you name one policy that he put in place that benefit the average American more than it benefit the rich?
So, okay, but hold on. Now we're jumping, right? So you jump from the guy that he pardoned to now you're asking a policy that is help that. But so, what do you think
Because
about
you had
him?
no response to it. You literally had no
No,
response
but
to
yes,
it.
like I said, I didn't know that he did that, and you know,
Okay,
but
so then stop acting
now I
like
want to ask you
it's a
something. What
pivot
do you
on
think?
my
What do you think
behalf.
about him
Why are you acting like
blocking the
it's
Strait
wait,
of
hold up,
Hormuz?
pause. Why are you acting like it's a pivot on my behalf when quite literally you just didn't have a response to it,
Because
so I
now
moved
you're
on to
asking
another
about
point.
another policy. That's it. I'm just saying, like, you know, we went back to talk about that, and then now I want to talk about the Hormuz. What do you think about he blockading that?
Okay, wait,
Do you think it's a good
before
strategy
before
for
we talk
America or
about
not?
this, can we mention the thing that I just asked you about? Can you name one
But I asked you
policy?
that before you asked me that, and
I
then you
don't
told
I
me to
don't
go
remember
back
you
to that,
asking
and then
that.
I did.
I don't remember you asking me that before.
Yes, I was talking about the Strait of Hormuz and how Iran was extortioning other countries to pay in yang for the boats to go through. And then America blockaded because they still want to have that dollar power. If they let other countries pay in yang to Iran, then, you know, they wouldn't do that. So then that's why I'm asking about that. What do you think about that?
What do I think about that? I think that's more
Yeah,
likely
what do you
going.
think about America blockading the Strait of Hormuz? Do you agree with that?
No, I think that's a bad thing. So I think that
Why?
and they were actually using U.S. dollars to a greater extent in terms of U.S. trade because it was built on a habit. And the more that we go to war with these nations, the less they're going to utilize this. The more that we destabilize relationships with our allies, the less that they're going to use
So
this,
you
which
feel like
inevitably doesn't.
it should be allowed
Wow,
for other
just let
countries
me
to
let me
provide?
know. Can you listen? What are we doing here?
Because I asked you one question. So, you
And I'm
know,
responding directly to that question.
so what I'm asking is, do you agree with other countries for paying oil to Iran in yangs or no,
So I would
instead
prefer
of
that
using the dollar?
I would prefer they use the dollar. But
Of course,
the
absolutely right.
the
So
way that
then,
we get
why
them
do you why do
the way
you
that we
go
get them to
against
use the
actions that guarantee
wow,
that?
dude, this guy's just steamrolling. Like, hey, dude, if you keep doing this, I'm gonna kick you. Like, why do you keep doing this? This is not a fun conversation to have.
Bro,
Are you purposefully doing this to rage bait?
bro, I'm not. I'm truly not.
So stop laughing when you just cut me off repeatedly, because I can mute you. If you need to,
Man,
if you
you
need,
can mute me if you
if you have
want.
zero self control, and you need to act like a man child, I will mute you, and I can control the
Man.
conversation that way. If you cannot have self control,
Okay, bro, go ahead.
I don't know why
Let
you're
me
laughing.
Let me hear you. Go ahead.
Why are you laughing?
I'm giving you mic, bro. Go ahead.
No, I'm asking why are you laughing?
Bro, just go ahead.
Answer the question. Why are you laughing?
Bro, I'm laughing because I feel it's funny that you get all mad just because I said something, but
Me getting mad? I told you to stop interrupting me, sir. That's all I did.
just go ahead. I'm not interrupting you. Go ahead, man.
Okay. So can you answer the question? Can you name one policy that Donald Trump passed
But
that benefits the average American more than it benefits the rich?
bro, again. But so hold on before we change to that, and I will go to that. So again, do you support actions that will keep the power of the dollar in the Middle East instead of them paying for oil in yanks, or no? You said that you rather them use dollars, but do you support actions to guarantee that?
I think that we had it to a greater extent. I think his actions have reduced the likelihood of them using the US dollar. The reason why it was
How?
built upon the use of the US dollar is because of habit. The way that you maintain those habits is by building diplomatic relationships, which is what the exact thing the Biden administration and the Obama administration did, was build diplomacy. So that's how you actually build economic relations, where they're going to then use the US dollar, right? Rather than actually relying upon Trump's military intervention, which has historically led to a reduction in the use of the US dollar, which is exactly what's happening right now, and it was what you actually referenced.
So you're saying that other countries start using the dollar because of Obama and Biden, and not because of 100 years of history of America power? They've been using the dollars way before Obama and Biden. So why are you giving them credit for that?
Yeah, I'm just saying that the Biden administration and the
But
Obama
so, but again,
administration
it's
may.
not because of the
Wow,
Biden
I'm in the middle of me
administration.
explaining. I'm saying the Biden administration and the Obama administration maintained that habit by diplomatic
But
relations.
but again, don't say that they did it through diplomatic things, because that happened before that. They maintained it just like every other president before them, and just like Trump maintained it between Barack Obama and Biden. So in the first Trump term, what did Trump do to go against that?
Well, I would say specifically that you can maintain it, but Trump under his administration right now is not maintaining it. So
But again, so hold on.
regardless of whether or not it was
On
maintained,
Trump's first
no,
term, between Barack.
regardless of whether it was maintained under his first administration, it was still maintained, or it still wasn't maintained under his second administration. So we're referencing the fact that he's engaged militarily speaking. When you're arguing that military intervention would allow us to secure
But
the
don't you
use of
feel like your argument?
the use of the US dollar within the context of these trades, and I'm arguing that Trump's use of military intervention did not do that. The
Okay, but
maintaining of
would you feel like
the maintaining of diplomatic relationships would maintain the usage of the US dollar on a world stage, and Trump has engaged in actions in which inevitably have led to a reduction in the usage of it. Can we now move on to the point that I was asking you about, or do we have to keep talking about this for the next 20 minutes?
no, but so before that, do you feel then like your argument about Barack Obama and Biden having diplomatic policies for them to use the dollars is a little bit ironic, because every other president before them, including Trump, in his first term, maintained that diplomacy for them to use the dollar? So it's a little bit stupid to say, oh yeah, Barack Obama and Biden did it, but then all the other presidents before that, they also did it as well. So it's just not like Barack Obama and Biden kept the dollar. It's every president in the United States history have done that.
Well, not in the entirety of history, but all of these prior presidents maintained it, and then Trump dismantled it. Wow, you're just proving my point to a greater extent.
Oh man, you're funny, bro.
I mean, you're just gonna watch this back later and realize I owned you. It's okay.
Oh man, I'm not gonna watch this later.
What's
all
up
right,
with
but
the
yeah,
fake
go ahead
laugh,
to your
bro?
next point. Go
Like,
ahead to
are
your
you
next
laughing
point.
out of cope? So can you answer my question then?
Go
So,
ahead, go ahead.
yeah, can you name a policy that Donald Trump influenced to get passed that benefit the average American more than it benefit the rich?
So I feel like the idea that Trump had, where he wanted pharmaceutical companies to bring down the prices of medicine, I feel like that was a good idea. In some kind of way, it didn't get implemented, but I feel that was a good policy that he had. So at
So
some
what
point at the
policy?
beginning of his first year, on his second term, he came out with a presidential, I don't know the exact name for it, but he came out with something like that, where he was talking to other pharmaceutical companies for them to bring down the price of medicine. It's funny because, I mean, and I just want to say this, all you guys Democrats, again, I'm not Republican or Democrat, but a lot of people are making fun of my English, which I feel like it's funny, because you guys are the ones that defend immigrants, and I'm also pro-immigrant as well. But for me, it's just funny that they are saying on the comments, he doesn't even know English, and it's just like, bro, what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, I think that's horrible. I mean, I don't see anyone in the comment section saying that. Or actually, I mean, I see one person who said that. I think that's horrible. No one should be making fun of your use of English. That's terrible. I just want to let you know the Trump administration is racially profiling people and detaining people based upon their accent. So if you do have an issue with that as well, you should also have an issue with that when the Trump administration does that from an ICE policy perspective. And then can you tell me what policy Trump passed to bring down farm prices?
So, can I look it up? Can I have like 2 minutes?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hold on.
Alrighty, in the meantime, while they look this up, I have a few people to thank. Do just give me a quick second. Jose, thank you so much for the $21. Thank you very much for these callers are so ignorant and dumb. I know this is your job, but how do you deal with the flow of stupidity vomiting from callers' mouths? It's something I've got used to over time. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Tom, thank you so much for the $5 as well. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, that'd be a good point to bring up. But thank you so much, Monavan. Thank you so much for the $21. Thank you very much on PayPal. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much in Omega. Thank you for the $20. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. True. Thank you so much. Literally, you should believe in sovereignty. Do give him a second to find this information real quick. Again, if you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up, everybody. Let's try to get to 2,000 likes. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. Let's try to get to 5,000 likes, everybody. Or not 5,000, 500,000 likes, sorry. Let me make sure to send out my live by hitting repost. Oh, let me restart my TikTok, and then we're going to repost my TikTok live from my second account by clicking the arrow in the bottom right and then clicking repost on the left side of the screen. That will help push it out to significantly more people, hopefully. Alrighty. Did you find the information?
So I did find something here. Just, he came out with Trump RX, which, to be honest, I feel like I don't agree that he has to put his name on everything. Like I said, I'm not Democrat or Republican. I'm more of policies of a lot of things that I like and things that I dislike from Trump. And again, I things that I like from the Democrat Party and the things that I dislike. But, the fact that he came out with Trump RX, where you can go and you can get some drugs at a discounted price, I feel like that's a good start. Again, I don't expect change from one day to another, but as long as we see some progress, I feel like that's good. For me, it's just insane how in Canada, like, insulin could be $15. In the United States, one shot of that is $600. Like, I can't even explain that. I can't even see how that could be legal, And I feel like that's something the both sides to try to change,
So Canada has more of a universal healthcare system, exactly what Democrats are advocating for. One. Two, the Trump RX. Let me please finish my statement.
To interrupt, yeah.
The Trump RX is just literally Trump putting his name on GoodRx. GoodRx already existed, provides the exact same pricing, and it's literally just rebranded GoodRx, where Trump just slapped his name on it. That's not a policy that reduces prices for the average person. That's quite literally just a rebranding where he put his name on it because he wants the attention for things that he didn't actually do in the first place.
Okay, I didn't know that. But so let me ask you something. Why do you think that none other Democrat president that has been, like Biden and Obama did create, Medicare, and he changed some things for healthcare, which I feel like is a pretty important topic. But I've never seen anybody said we're gonna go against pharma and we're gonna take the down price from insulin. I would like to see a candidate that come back and says something like that. You
mean like Kamala Harris?
She never said that.
She did. $35 cap on insulin per month. Also, she did that through the context of the Inflation Reduction Act, which did it for individuals who are on Medicare. It also did a $2,000 cap on pharmaceuticals out of pocket for those that are on Medicare. And she wanted to expand that to everyone. She also advocated for a public option for universal healthcare access.
I don't have a lot of things against Kamala, but it's just I feel like the change from. Do you think that Biden was a good run for the Democratic Party against Trump?
In 2020, yeah, he won.
No.
I don't think he should have ran again in 2024.
Yes,
I think he should have done just the one term like he said he was going to do.
That's a mistake on the Democratic Party having him run again.
Yeah, for sure.
Because in some kind of way, if you think about it, the average American people, and that's why Trump won, didn't like Kamala, for a lot of reasons, and you can say that it's because of marketing, it's because
I think he shouldn't have run for the second time. Now, I definitely don't think that means that Trump is a better candidate than Harris or Biden. Biden's still a better candidate than Trump. Harris is still a better candidate than Trump. How could you defend that Trump is a better candidate?
No. So what I'm saying is that I feel like instead of being mad at Trump for winning, I feel like we should be mad at the Democratic Party for not coming up with a better candidate that people would like.
I think Kamala Harris is a significantly better candidate than Donald Trump. It's not even close. So explain to me how you think.
The country didn't like her.
So explain to me why you think that Donald Trump is a better candidate than Kamala Harris.
The fact is that the country didn't like her.
Okay, but I'm asking you what you don't like about her.
Me personally, so I feel like the fact that to be honest, she was just DI candidate. Like when she went for vice president, like literally Biden just said that he wanted somebody of color to be the vice president,
That's
and
not
he
what he
literally
said.
just went and got
That's not
her
what he said.
that.
He described that he was
Which I'm
going.
not against. Which I'm not against
He
inclusion.
described
I
he
want people to
described
be
that he has
included.
picked. He described that he had picked a woman. He never said a woman of color. He said he described that he picked a woman, and that's describing a characteristic that of her, not anything saying that he just picked her because of that reason. Plus, that's not what DEI is, right? You understand that he wasn't saying he only picked people who met that criteria. He was just listing a characteristic of the person he picked.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I just didn't. There were a lot of things that
Wait,
when
plus,
she was
wait,
talking,
can I say one more
like
thing?
I felt like
Can I say one more
when.
thing?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
She also was significantly more qualified than Trump for the position of presidency. Former district attorney, former attorney general, former prosecutor, former senator, former vice president, comparative to Donald Trump, who had 6 bankruptcies formerly, and has no
He
clue
was
what he's
also a
doing.
former president.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you can say. Former president. That's it. And by the way, when he was president last, he did a bad job. And then since he's been in president, he's done a horrible job.
But what
So
would you say he did a bad
Harris was
job?
obviously the better option.
He literally just carry on with the same policies that America had. I feel like,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
also when you guys did the change to Biden, there's a lot of policies that he had that also Biden kept, like going against still Nicolas Maduro, is still going against Iran. You know what I mean? Even Kamala said one time when they asked her if she agreed if Iran should have nuclear weapons, she said, just don't do it. Don't do it. All these policies have
Yeah,
been
no. But
to the
Democrats
country.
obviously
So I feel
agree that
like
they
when
shouldn't have a
Trump
nuclear
asking them,
weapon.
why you
Wait, you're not
but hold on,
understanding.
hold on. So you're saying I'm letting you speak, right? And then I'm speaking and you're interrupting too. You know what I mean? Isn't that true? So
That was
hold
simply
on.
because I was just trying to clarify misinterpretation. I apologize. I'll let you speak.
No, yeah, no. So what I'm saying is like, so if all these policies that have been in America for a long time, no nuclear weapons in Iran, not having a socialist, communist, or whatever in Venezuela, why when Trump does those things, why you go against that? So let me ask you something. Do you think that Trump's idea to bomb Iran and go to war with them, do you think it was only his idea, or do you feel that it was also that was planned when Biden was president, and it's something that the CIA has also planned to do?
So, no, the Biden administration did not
Hold
take
on,
into
you're muted. I don't know. I can't hear you.
Yeah, sorry. The Biden administration did not take into consideration going to war with Iran. What was on the table for the Biden administration was the Operation Midnight Hammer if they couldn't get a JCPOA type deal done.
But so again, so hold on. Just to ask you this, do you feel like Trump is planning all this war, or do you feel like he's getting help from the CIA?
I think that Trump is obviously planning the war and telling us we should go to war, and then there are
But
also
but
other
again, but hold
people,
on. So you think that he's not getting help from the CIA?
and then there are also other people on his administration that also support this war, such as Pete Hegseth.
Okay, but do you feel like the CIA has helped him?
Sure.
Sure, right? And then it's something that they have planned. So don't you think that if the CIA was planning all this all along, it's something that they would have done even if
No, that doesn't mean that the
Kamala was in
CIA
power
was
too?
planning this all along. That just means that the Trump is using the CIA while going to war with Iran.
So, but that's what I don't understand. Like, I feel like all these things they have been planned for the CIA. I feel like there's no way that the American government didn't plan all this out before they did it. And just because Trump came in and told all of them, yes, we're gonna bomb Iran, everybody just went, yeah, we're gonna do it. I feel like it was
Yeah, that's
something that
kind of
was
what
planned
happened.
before
Trump is the
that.
one who wanted to do this because of Netanyahu being a part of the determination in terms of them doing it.
Man, I don't think that way. But
Your
sure.
whole arguments are just like laughing at me.
No, I'm not.
Like,
I'm not laughing. I'm not at you. We just think differently.
yeah, I mean, like
I just feel
you have
like
yet to provide a single argument. You didn't even provide a single policy that Donald Trump passed
but
that
I just
benefit the
feel like
average American. You didn't provide a single policy that Donald Trump passed that benefit the average American more than it benefit rich people.
Yeah, I feel like that I didn't agree with the big beautiful bill when they said, oh, we're gonna cut your taxes on overtime and tips, but then on the small print, and they reduce the taxes for the rich people. Again, I don't feel like we should tax all the rich people like they do in Europe, where in Germany, they charge you even for having a TV. You know what I mean? And they charge rich people 50% of all the things they made. I don't feel like this country should be like that. And I feel that's why this country is so big and they have so many companies. Because if you go to other countries like Spain, and I can say this because I have friends everywhere. But I feel like the United States is the only country where you can come and you can build something from nothing. Where other countries you can go and you can never become rich. Like if you go to Spain and you start working
I'm
on
sorry, that's just
McDonald's,
delusional. Other countries, especially Scandinavian countries, have more social mobility comparative to the U.S.
nah, man. Have you
Yeah,
ever been
look up social mobility index.
Have you ever lived out there?
No, I don't have to. I'm looking at a social mobility index.
But you're saying these based on a source that you're getting, and I understand that. I respect that. But you haven't lived out there, so how would you know? You know what I mean? If like some normal people, somebody like you or me, just goes out there, just tries to work through and get money, it's very hard. Versus in the United States, you can do that. That's all I'm saying.
I just told you a
But
social mobility index. Have you lived in all those countries?
well, I have lived in Spain. Yes.
Have you lived in any other countries in Scandinavia?
No.
So you couldn't make a claim about any of those countries. That's just ridiculous.
Like, well, I mean, you haven't lived there either. Well,
I
how
have a
is that
question.
ridiculous?
Would you rather live in Nazi Germany or the United States?
The United States, absolutely.
Okay, but have you ever lived in Nazi Germany?
No.
But you can determine that it's worse off even without
But
living
again,
there,
I
right?
said that I respect that you have your sources.
You can
And all this
determine that it's worse off
thing that
even
is
without
different
living
from
there,
the
right?
people that I live down there that
You
actually
can
know what's going
determine that
on.
it's worse off even without living there, right?
That again, I don't know what you're going to say. I already
You
said
can
that I
say that
respect
you
that
think
you
it's
have your.
worse off even without you having lived there before.
Yes, but I already said that I agree with you on that, and I said I respect that. I'm just saying that for me, a better source is somebody that had already lived there. You know what I mean? Somebody
Yeah,
that
and these
it's on there and
indexes
knows
go
what's
over
going on
that.
exactly.
Yeah, the index is going to utilize information from people who live in those countries. You know that, right? That's why I'm looking at a social mobility index. It's going to look over all those factors, and it's going to get information from the areas in which we are trying to compare.
Again, I don't know, man. I respect your sources and all that, but for me, it's just proof of the day-to-day basis. You know what I mean? And just like I feel like a lot of the statistics that they use to say something about black people or Hispanic people in this country, they may be a little bit fudged. It's the same thing, bro. I feel like being out there and living it the day of day, that's what gives you the real truth.
Okay, I don't know what you're just engaging in nonsense describing. Like, the social mobility index by country demonstrates clearly that we have lower social mobility comparative to other countries around the world. You believing this is a pipe dream that we want to believe because we want America to have the best social mobility around the world, but we don't. So it's just like, would you like to actually provide an
So would
actual
you rather
like
live in those countries instead of America?
the reason why I'd rather live in the United States is because my family lives here.
But so if your family wasn't from here, you would live over there
Yeah,
instead of here. So then you're not a true American. How can you say
that
that?
makes zero sense. I'm just saying
Well,
what country's government I would
you're
rather
saying that the
like.
only reason you live in the United States is because your
If my
family's here,
family
not because
lived
you
in
have
those
any respect
countries,
for
I
the
would live
country.
in those countries. I don't think that's that complicated. I'm
So
going to
why
live
don't
where
you
my
just take your
family
family
is.
with you and live out there?
What's up?
How don't you why don't you just take your family with you and live out there? You know,
That's not how
I
things
feel like
work,
I
dude.
feel like it's very patriotic to want to
That's not
improve
how
your
things
own
work.
country. So
Wait,
when
wait,
you
wait.
say that the only reason
So
you're
so
here
so by the way,
because you're
your
hold
delusional
on,
argument
don't
here.
interrupt me. Hold on, let me finish.
Shut the fuck up. Your delusional argument here is that I should
But
move
hold on,
out.
but just
Shut
let me say
up.
this.
Your delusional argument is
Just
that I
wait a
should.
second. But wait a second. Let me finish this.
If you don't stop talking, I'll just kick you. Okay? So your whole argument is that I should move my entire family and everyone I care about from the United States to a different country simply because I believe that their particular governmental and economic structure is preferable to the United States. Why wouldn't I want to make my country better off, right, that I grew up
So
in? And why wouldn't I want to continue living in the country that I've lived my entire life in? I
Parker,
live in
Parker,
California. California is great. I love
Parker, you
California.
just said the only reason you live in the States is because your family's here.
Yes.
Yes.
And I care more about my
And then you
family.
said that if they weren't here, you would move to other countries.
Yeah, if my
So
family
how can
lived
you
in a
say
different
that?
country, If my family lived in a different country, I would live in the country where my family lived, because I care most about family.
Bro, but do you hear yourself saying that the only reason you live here is because your family? I mean, like you don't
It's
support
like
America.
are you just like not listening to me? Like if my family lived in a different area, yes, I would go live with my family because ultimately what I care most is my family and the people that I care most about in my life. If that was in a different country, I would live in that other country.
So I don't. So, bro, I don't see that, bro. Like, when you also were talking before about, I understand that it's the First Amendment, and if it's ruled by the Supreme Court that they should be able to burn flags. I mean, again, I respect that because those are the laws or whatever.
I
But
have a question.
I feel like
I have a question. Do
they
you live
shouldn't be
in a
able to
red
burn the
city?
American flag. I feel like they should not be able to burn the American flag. I feel like that should be illegal, even though again it's protected to by the First Amendment, all that. I don't feel like that should be illegal. And again, like the same thing where you said like the only reason you live here is because your family's here. I mean, I feel like that's true for everyone. Everybody, somebody that's born in India, they live there because their family's there. But when you said that, I thought you meant like you will move over there because they have a better index or whatever, instead of just making your country better. Which I feel like that's what you should do.
Yeah, I advocated for wanting to make my country better. I just said they have a preferable
But
model.
you said that after.
Secondly,
You didn't say that when you said that you will live in a different country because they have a better index.
yeah, I was just saying essentially in that context that I think that
Yeah,
that
you
is
said
better.
that after I mentioned it. So I just feel like in some kind of way you're
Okay.
not that patriotic.
Okay, can you just stop talking, please?
Sure,
Thank
go
you.
ahead, bro.
Okay. I have a question. Do you live in a red city?
No, I do not.
Why don't you move to a red city?
Bro, again, like I said, I don't support Democrats or Republicans. I support policies. There's some policies that I support, and there's some other ones that I don't. Like I mentioned before, there are things that Trump has done that I dislike.
Why
And
don't you move to a city that's run by someone who supports Trump?
But look, I'm gonna say with the same thing you say, because my family is here.
There you go. Like, isn't that reasonable?
Bro, but it's not the same thing living in the same country. I was talking about a different country, and you say that you would move out there if it wasn't for your
Yeah,
family.
if your family lived in a different country, would you want to live in that country where your family lives?
My family lives in a different country. I mean, I have family here, but I also have family there. I'm an
I mean, like
immigrant.
everyone you care about in your life, your significant other, your friends, your family, if they all lived in a different country, would you want to live in that country?
Man, I love America. I love this country. If somebody were to ask me today if I were to move back to my country, I will never do that.
Okay,
I
even if
love this
everyone
country,
you
man.
ever cared about lived in that country?
Yes, I love this country. I
Okay.
love living here. I love supporting here. I love improving my community. I love volunteering here. I feel like, and again, I've been in a lot of different countries. This is a country where I can see where people help each other. So I just want to support that.
If you want to help others, why do you support Trump?
Like I said, man, there's some things that I support and there's other things that I don't.
So,
You
like,
know,
if you want to help others
No,
the
I
most,
support American power. I want America to be the greatest country ever. And then, if that means that we have to do things to keep that power, I agree with that.
so I have a question. Would you be okay with killing people at mass and taking over and annexing countries if it were in the benefit of the U.S.?
But so this is a very hypothetical question. I mean, what is the context of this? You know what I mean? I wouldn't agree with them going and
Like for
doing
example,
like
would
a
you
whole
support the
genocide
U.S.
thing.
annexing the entirety of the Western Hemisphere by military intervention if you thought it was
I
a
just feel like
benefit to the U.S.?
that's a very hypothetical question. I feel like that would never happen. I feel
Yeah,
like
but I'm just asking you, would you support the U.S. annexing the entirety of the Western Hemisphere, right, through military conquest and intervention?
to be honest, probably not. I don't see the benefit on that. I mean, like if they
But
were
no,
to
I'm saying
invade,
if it benefit the U.S., would you support
but
doing that?
how? Like if they were to take control of like whole Central America, what would they gain? The Panama Canal?
Yeah, well,
You know what I mean? That's the only thing that they
we're
could get.
supposing
But
that it's
besides that,
beneficial
all
to
those
the
countries they
we're
only have
supposing that
farmland.
it's beneficial to the country. Would you support it?
But again, this is just so many hypotheticals, man. Like
If Trump said that it was beneficial to the country, would you support it?
I mean, probably not. I probably would not believe him in what he's saying.
So you would disagree with that. So just
I would
because
disagree.
something benefits our country does not mean you support it. especially considering
but
it's at the detriment of other countries around the world to a massive extent. Okay, can I ask you a
but that's
question?
not something that will happen. You are going on
Okay,
social
all
being
right, please be
hypothetical and just
quiet.
saying
Please
like
be quiet. Just be
if these
quiet.
and
Please
these
shut up.
and these
Shut
and
up.
these and these
Shut
align,
up.
like I could.
Just
But
shut
hold
up.
on. But you're saying, but this, look at my point. I'm saying that's a very hypothetical, and then you add something else, and then after that, then you go, if this happened, or there's in the, if this happened, and then if this happened, this is such a big hypothetical. You know what I mean? So what? So let me tell you this: what will happen if Iran had a nuclear weapon and they were to bomb the whole Middle East, and United States were to use a nuclear weapon before them and kill them all? Would you agree with that? And then you will be like, well, I don't know. And then but what will happen if he will do that and you will save the whole country or the whole world, and you will be like, well, I don't know. Well, no. So it's like just so many big hypotheticals, bro. Like for real.
If you don't understand the use of the hypotheticals that I was relating to, you can ask for why I was using the hypothetical, and you can ask and or try to explain why it's an unreasonable hypothetical to compare. Just saying that you don't want to engage with it because it's a hypothetical is just unbelievably stupid. Like imagine being in math class and you get asked a question. Oh, if you have a bag in your hand and there are 2 red balls in the bag and 2 blue balls in the bag, how many balls are total in the bag? And you responded with, well, I don't answer hypotheticals. It's not a hypothetical that actually happened. Therefore, I can't engage with that. What type of
Man,
ridiculous
you're
question,
comparing
teacher, are
a
you
bag.
asking me?
You're
Because that
comparing a
didn't
bag
actually
with
happen
balls
within
in
real life.
it.
I don't have a bag. I don't see 2
Taking
blue balls,
control of
and I
the
don't see
movement.
2
I'm
red
not there.
balls.
That's just
That is
a
a
very big
ridiculous thing for
difference.
you to ask me, teacher. How dare you ask me a question for something that didn't actually happen? That's ridiculous.
There's a very big difference, man. You're talking about a math class hypothetical versus taking control of the whole West Hemisphere. I feel like that's crazy.
So the point that I'm demonstrating with the hypothetical is that just because something benefits the country doesn't mean that you would engage in that. So that's the point that I'm trying to demonstrate. You think it's wrong to steal from other countries at the benefit of our country, right?
To an extent. To an extent.
So what extent are you referencing?
I mean, do you? So let me. So okay. Now let me ask you this, and I make relevance after that. So do you feel? And again, if you don't believe this, but it could be a hypothetical for you, right? But do you feel like if Russia and China are doing all their efforts to try to get drugs into our country so that our population is addicted to those drugs and is not productive, do you feel like the United States should do something about that?
Yes, we should
Yes, right.
try to
Okay.
prevent those deaths.
Right. So now let me ask you this. So if the United States were to go into, let's say, Afghanistan or Pakistan, and they would create a farm of drugs so that they could send them to Russia, even though it's illegal and even though they're doing something against Russia through that, would you go against that?
I would oppose that, yeah.
But so then, if they are doing it to the United States, why wouldn't the United States do it to them?
Because that's harmful to civilians. That's like arguing because terrorists kill civilians, that means we should kill civilians too.
So then you will say that if, let's say, Russia were to attack the United States, they shouldn't do anything about it then, because they shouldn't kill civilians when
You
they're
can
doing
do
it to
something
us.
about it without killing civilians.
Bro, I could disagree with you on there. I mean, I'm not in favor of killing civilians. I wanna make that very
That's
clear.
what it sounds like you
But
just argued
yeah,
for.
but I just wanna say, bro, if they are out there and let's say that Russia and China are sending drugs into our country and the United States is doing the same to a different country in the Middle East, I feel like that's just fair game. So when you asked me before, oh, would you agree with the United States stealing something uh, for the
Okay,
benefit
so I
of
have
the
a
country?
question.
I
So
would agree
because
with that.
Iran's committing terrorism and funding terrorism around the world, does that mean we should do that too?
So not create terrorism, but stop Iran from doing that
Can you
by
answer the
exposing the
question?
force of the United States. Yes.
So do you think that because they're funding terrorism, we should also fund terrorism?
Again, so like I said, to an extent. So I'm not saying that the America should go and they should kill the whole Iran population, but they should do things to stop Iran from doing that. And in that thing, there
Can you
may be
answer my
some
question? Like
casualties
I'm
from.
asking you a basic question. Can you answer?
But like, I'm answering your question, and for some reason you're not understanding.
Because they're funding tourism, does that mean we should also fund terrorism? Because they're funding terrorism, does that mean we should also fund terrorism?
So again, well, so but okay, I'm gonna say no, but so now let me ask you this. So again, if Iran were to attack the United States and they were funded by somebody else or whatever, shouldn't the United States hit them back?
If we get attacked by Iran, we should obviously respond and
Right?
hit military
But
sites,
so then you're saying that
not
Iran,
civilians.
and you're saying that Iran is doing terrorist attacks, right? So shouldn't the United States try to stop that, not by any means, by through significant things that lead to that? It may not be 100% diplomatic, but that's just because that's not how the world works. Again, like I feel like out here you have all these views of like, yes, we can solve every problem just by talking or whatever. But I feel like in truth, when you go out to those countries, when you go out to Iran, you go out there with that diplomacy. Oh yeah, let's be all happy. It may not be how it works.
I don't think we're the world police. I don't think that we've stabilized the Middle East by
But so,
militarily.
hold on. Before we go into that, and I'm sorry to interrupt. So, would you agree that if Iran is doing something
I
to
hate this guy.
support terrorists, the United States should do something against it? Because that's what you were saying. That is not through diplomatic
I do think
actions.
that we can prevent those things from happening without going to direct war with Iran. So we want to do things to prevent things like this from happening and harming us in terms of our domestic soil. But that does not mean we should go to war with Iran without provocation.
So, what would you do then?
In response to them engaging in funding terrorism,
Yes. So, if you're saying that the United States should not go and do something that is harmful to the Iran's population, so and obviously they can find a diplomatic solution. So, what would you suggest?
I would prefer a diplomatic solution to going to war
But
with
again,
them.
if that wasn't an option, what would you suggest?
Well, then I don't know if there's a way that we would be able to prevent them.
So then you would just let them do whatever they want? Is that what you're saying?
No. But I think
So
that
then, okay,
if there's no
but that's
capacity
my
to,
point. You asked me before. Oh yeah, are you?
if there's no capacity to prevent them from doing that, well, then that's obviously something that we can't prevent them from doing. Now, I don't think us going to war with them is
I
going
feel like
to
we're doing
prevent
that
this
pretty
from
well right
happening
now.
to any
We're
greater
stopping them
extent.
from having a nuclear weapon.
I don't think us going to war with them has prevented them from doing this to any greater extent. I still think that they're using their money to fund terrorism around the world. Plus, this condition's also very much benefited Russia because it's allowed for Russia to sell its oil all around the world for higher costs because of the fact that the Strait of Hormuz is closed. So it's very much beneficial to Russia. So you're not taking into consideration all of the negative impacts on a global stage because of this war with Iran. And obviously we want to prevent Iran from engaging in terrorism or promoting terrorism around the world, but I don't think going to war with them is the way to prevent that from happening. And I think that inevitably it just has led to
But
worse off conditions.
I don't disagree with that. But so again, so what will you do to stop them if you can't find a diplomatic solution?
I think I've already responded to this question.
All you've been saying is that you're gonna keep trying to find a diplomatic solution. That's all you've been saying.
Yeah, I would prefer I'm not going to war.
But again, so if that wasn't an option, what would you do?
Anything that does not involve going to war. I
If
don't know the
but so
exact
you see my
conditions
hypothetical. It's the same
outside of what I'm just
hypothetical like you
mentioning,
were
but you
giving to me
can't take
before.
off
You asked me
diplomatic
5
solutions
ifs,
when that is
right?
the way
And I
that we
say I
would
don't
do
answer
it.
hypotheticals, and all you do is you just when I ask you a question, you just say, "Oh yeah, I wouldn't go to do that. I wouldn't go and do that. I wouldn't go and do that." That's just not an answer, bro.
I think I directly answered the question.
Parker, this is funny, man.
You can't say without considering all of the solutions that you think would be relevant towards preventing this from happening. What would you do? That's just it's a stupid question to ask.
Why is
Sci-fi,
that a
think of the
stupid
galaxy.
question
Thank you
to
very much,
ask?
sci-fi. What's that?
Oh shit,
What'd you say?
bro? Why would you say that's a stupid question to ask? Like you asked me the same question before.
I just
when
explained
you asked
why.
me 5 hypotheticals.
What?
You asked me the same questions before when you asked me like 5 hypotheticals.
What's
In
the
some
same
kind of
question
way,
I asked
so
you?
look, in some kind of way.
You said I asked you
feel
the
like-
same question. What was the question, and what question did I ask you?
So okay, so when you asked me about the hypotheticals about if I wanted to live in Nazi Germany, right? And all these things, or I don't know, I don't remember the exact question you asked me, but I told you that you were asking me hypotheticals. I'm asking you also a hypothetical, and then all your answer is
That
like,
was
I wouldn't
actually
go
in
to war
response
with
to the
them.
hypotheticals you were
I
asking
wouldn't
me
go to
about
war with them.
Scandinavia and
I
other
wouldn't go to
countries.
war with them. But so
You're not explaining how I explained the exact same hypothetical. That's literally incoherent.
so before you said that you were against Iran having a nuclear weapon, and then we have seen
I
that the
am.
diplomatic solutions have not worked. So then, what's your
JCPOA
solution?
was working, and Trump pulled out of the JCPOA.
Man. I just feel like you have such a big picture in your head of everybody. Let's just talk and let's just speak everything. And I wish that it worked that way. You know, I don't want to see
We
people
established
die.
this through the JCPOA. Trump pulled this out. You are incapable of actually engaging with this point.
I don't know what the CGPOA is.
The JCPOA is the agreement that we set up under the Obama administration to prevent them from enriching uranium to the level in which we weaponize it. They actually prevented them from weaponizing or from enriching it above 3.7%.
What happened to that?
Okay, the fact that you don't know, Trump pulled us out of that. So the fact that you don't know that shows that how little you actually know about foreign policy as it relates to Iran. If you don't even know what that agreement is, then you clearly don't know enough in order to say that we're in a better position right now because of Trump's involvement in trying to prevent this. Because I think Trump's involvement has put us in a worse situation. We have less political concessions right now than we had 10 years ago before Trump was involved in politics.
Man, I just feel like in some kind of way we should we should just see what's happening right now. They may have done that in the past, and if it was working as great as you say it's working, I guess that it was a very bad decision to pull out of it. I didn't know that happened, but the situation that we have right now is that Iran was trying to create nuclear weapons, and we stopped them from doing that.
The JCPOA prevented it from a greater extent. Via, thank you so much to the Galaxy. So while you're sitting here just laughing, I actually know what I'm talking about, and I can describe to you why I have the certain position I have. You're ill-informed, you have no basis that justifies your position, and you can't acknowledge that we're in a worse position right now as it relates to preventing Iran from having a nuclear
But I
weapon
just did.
comparative to
You
what
know
we
what I
were
just
under
said?
the JCPOA. And I've just proved that for you right now, and you've just chose to completely ignore it.
But bro, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
But I just said that if it was running as good as you're saying that it was running, I said that it was probably a bad decision to pull out of it. I
Yeah.
just literally said that. So why are you
Okay,
saying that I'm
so now
going
you do.
against you?
So
I don't
let me
see
clarify.
that.
Let me clarify. You do acknowledge now the JCPOA had us in better conditions. Therefore, you cannot use Iran as a reason to say that you support Donald Trump's administration more than you support Harris, for example. So, what is
Well,
the reason why you
so
support Donald Trump then, if it is not his involvement, militarily speaking, with the war with Iran?
so let me say this. I would say that again, if it was running as you're saying it's probably a bad decision. But it's something I will have to look up. You know what I mean? Just I will have to do a better research on it and then see for my own all those things, and then I will probably come to the same conclusion if what you're saying is true.
Okay, so is there any point you want to bring up or talk about or address?
I feel like we're good for the day, bro. Well, the last thing I want to say before you kick me out or whatever. Again, bro, I'm not against Democrats or I'm not against Republicans. There's a lot of things that the Republicans do that I don't agree with. There's a lot of things that Democrats do that I don't agree with.
Okay, can I
But
ask
the
you a
big
question
thing,
before you leave? Can you name one Republican policy you agree with, or I mean you disagree with, and one Democratic policy you agree with?
bro, I disagree with abortion. I disagree with them banning abortion because I feel banning abortion in the United States is just banning it for the poor. Because then the rich can just travel to a different country and get an abortion there, and then that works for them. But the people that can't do it in their state and they can't travel to a different state because they don't have the money, I feel like that's just a way to don't let the poor people get abortions when the rich people can do it because they can travel. I feel like that's a policy that I disagree with from for the Republican part, and the policy that I agree with on the Democratic part will be a better way for immigration in some kind of way. But I don't agree with them opening the border like they did when they let a bunch of people in. I feel like there
I
was
didn't
not a lot of
ask you for
control
what
on
you disagree with in terms of Democrats. I asked you what you agree with. just making the legal process go quicker.
And that's what I say. I want them,
Okay.
because usually the Democrats, they have a better policy for immigration, but I don't agree with what they.
Omega, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $20. Thank you very much. I appreciate on YouTube Super Chat for part of being truly patriotic is demanding that our government do better. America has a lot of work to do to live up to the American dream. That's very true. Thank you so much, Omega. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Because